Doctors warn older women 99% lose balance. Due to these 8 mistakes, I used to think losing balance was something that happened to people much frailer than me, until one day, I nearly fell just standing up from a chair. No heavy bags, no loose rugs, and just me, in a room I knew like the back of my hand. It only lasted a second, but I felt my entire world shake. Not because of the slip, but because of the fear that crept into my bones. I know I'm not alone, and I also know we don't have to accept this as our fate. Doctors say 99% of women over 60 will struggle with balance. But what they don't always say is this: most of the causes aren't really about age. They're about small habits we've let stay too long. You don't need to feel afraid to walk across your own living room. You don't have to say no to an outing just because you're scared of falling. And you absolutely don't need to live with that uneasy feeling every time you get out of bed. In this video, I'll share 8 habits that almost took away my freedom, and how I got it back, step by step. Gently, intentionally, and with love. If you're trying to reclaim your steadiness, in both body and spirit, stay with me until the very end, because I believe you deserve to walk firmly through your own life. So before we talk habits, let's understand what really causes this unsteadiness and why age is not the main reason behind your fear of falling. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I feel more wobbly these days? You're not sick, you're not being careless, but your body just doesn't seem to move the way it used to. And every time you almost fall, you brush it off thinking, maybe I'm just getting old. But the truth is, age is only a very small part of the balance story. The rest? Silent changes we rarely notice. Did you know that after age 50, you can lose up to 1–2% of your muscle mass each year? It doesn't hurt, it doesn't cause fever, but it quietly weakens you little by little. And when your legs can't react as quickly as they used to, even a small stumble can turn into a serious fall. It's not just the muscles. Our nervous system, vision, hearing, and the ability to sense where your body is in space also starts to decline. That means you could step slightly off-center on a stair or reach a little too far, and your body won't catch up in time. But perhaps the most important thing is this: no one teaches us how to stay balanced after 60. No one warns us that dim lighting, a new prescription, or shoes just a little too loose can chip away at your confidence, one step at a time. I don't say this to scare you. I say it to remind you. This is not your fault. You are not careless. You are not weak. You simply haven't been given the right tools to adjust to a body that's quietly changing. And if you're still here, still listening, then you've already begun the journey to reclaim steadiness, strength, and peace in every step you take. And sometimes the first habit to change is right under us. The shoes we trust may no longer support the body we are living in today. The first time I almost fell wasn't because the floor was slippery. It wasn't because something got in my way. It was because of something I never expected. The shoes I wore every day. They were soft, light, easy to slip on. The ballet flats I had loved for decades. I thought comfort was enough. But that one step on that one day couldn't hold me. We often see shoes as accessories, but once you turn 60, shoes aren't about fashion anymore. They're about safety. Your body is changing. Your arches flatten. The fat pads on the soles of your feet thin out. Your ankles weaken. Your reflexes slow down. That means the perfect pair of shoes from 10 years ago might be what trips you today. And the truth is, most women don't realize this until after a fall. So, what should the right shoes for 60 plus include? Slip-resistant soles, not too stiff, not too smooth. Soft cushioning, especially under the heel and ball of the foot. Firm ankle support, to keep your steps steady. And above all, a proper fit. Not loose enough to slip, not tight enough to squeeze. You might think, I don't want to wear old-looking medical shoes. I used to think the same. But now, there are so many beautiful, youthful styles that still offer grip, support, and ease of movement. I found a pair in soft gray with gentle floral trims. Every time I wear them, I feel more grounded, not just in my steps, but in my spirit. Even at home, I stopped wearing slippery house slippers. I chose a pair with lightweight rubber soles, snug, safe, and steady. Because at some point you realize, stability doesn't begin at your knees. It begins at the soles of your feet, and the right pair of shoes can be what keeps you standing instead of lying where you once fell. And once your feet are supported, it's time to look higher. Because the next habit that weakens balance lives quietly in your legs and muscles. I used to think I was still strong. I went grocery shopping, cooked my meals, cleaned the house, tended the garden. I didn't need to exercise. But then one day, I realized I had to use both hands just to push myself up from a low chair. And that moment stunned me. Not because the chair was too low, but because my body had been quietly losing strength, day by day. And I hadn't even noticed. After 50, we lose muscle mass. Not suddenly, not obviously, but gradually and consistently. With each passing year, you lose the strength that once let you stand with ease, walk with confidence, and catch yourself when you lost balance. You don't need dumbbells or a gym membership to regain strength. I started with the smallest things. A pair of light hand weights by the sofa. While watching TV, I'd do a few simple moves. Arm lifts, leg kicks, gentle presses. Some days I just used my own body weight. Sitting down, standing up, leaning against the wall, counting my breaths. No loud music, no mirrors, no pressure, just me, and a quiet daily persistence. After just a few weeks, I could stand more easily. Carrying a pot of water didn't tire me. Climbing a few stairs didn't leave me breathless. But the most important change? I began to believe my body could still come back. Muscles aren't just for movement. They're your cushion when you slip, your reflex when you stumble, the thing that holds you upright when life takes you by surprise. And strength isn't just physical. When you do something today that you couldn't do yesterday, you grow stronger inside. You fear less, hesitate less, and gradually you walk as if the ground beneath you belongs to you again. Just 10 minutes a day, right where you sit. Don't wait for your body to send a red alert before you start. Begin while you can still move gently, yet firmly, one step at a time. But strength alone is not enough, because balance also depends on what you see and how clearly your eyes guide each step in changing light. I used to think my eyes were fine. I could still read spice labels, watch TV, and recognize my grandson's face from across the yard. But then one night, I got up to use the bathroom without turning on the light, afraid of waking my husband. One misstep from not seeing the edge of the rug, and I collapsed to the floor. No broken bones, but something inside me cracked. That's when I realized Balance isn't just about your legs, it's about your eyes, too. Our vision helps us judge distances, sense light and dark, perceive depth, and adjust each step. But as time passes, our eyes change without us noticing. Vision becomes blurry, contrast weakens, and low light becomes disorienting. I'd worn the same glasses for 4 years without getting them checked. I thought, I can still see. Why change? It wasn't until after that fall that I saw an eye doctor and learned my prescription had shifted significantly. I was also advised to switch to lenses with anti-glare coating to improve clarity in dim light, especially at night. It wasn't just the glasses, I changed my home lighting too. I added a small night light in the hallway, replaced warm yellow bulbs with soft white ones. Since then, every step I take at night feels clearer, safer. Many people think, I'm not blind, why worry? But declining vision doesn't mean you don't see. It means you can't react in time. One misstep is all it takes to lose your balance, your confidence, or the calm rhythm of daily life. So don't wait until everything looks dim to take action. Care for your eyes the same way you care for your balance. Get regular checkups. Update your glasses when needed. Brighten the dark corners of your home. And remember, the light you create today might be what keeps you standing tall tomorrow. But even clear vision means little if your body feels dizzy from within. The next habit to watch lies quietly inside the pills you take each day. I used to believe that if a doctor prescribed it, it had to be safe. And most of the time that's true. But then came an afternoon when I stood up from the couch to get some water, and the room tilted slightly, like a gentle wave. I didn't fall, but I had to stand still for a few seconds, gripping the table just to stay upright. At first I thought I was tired. Maybe I hadn't slept enough. Maybe it was just age. But the truth was, it was a side effect of a new blood pressure medication I had just started. So many older women experience the same thing: mild dizziness, feeling unsteady, disoriented, without ever suspecting that their medication might be the cause. Our bodies change with age. Our liver, kidneys, and nervous system process drugs more slowly, more sensitively. A dose that worked fine at 50 might be too strong at 70. What's truly dangerous isn't the medicine. It's the silence. The silence when you feel a bit dizzy. The silence when your vision blurs for a second. The silence when you think, it's probably nothing. And then, the fall comes like a quiet ambush. After that experience, I started keeping notes. Anytime I felt something off, excessive sleepiness, lightheadedness, headaches, a racing heart, I wrote it down. When I went back for my follow-up, I brought that little notebook and showed it to my doctor. And surprisingly, just by adjusting my dosage, everything became stable again. The sudden waves of imbalance stopped. You are the one living in your body every single day. Only you can notice when something feels different, no matter how small. And only when you speak up can your doctor make the right changes for you. Read your medication labels carefully. Ask when you're unsure. Write down the unusual. And never assume that feeling unsteady is just part of aging, because sometimes one small adjustment is all it takes to help you stay on your feet. And when medication no longer throws you off balance, the next step is facing the truth about support and why reaching for furniture is not enough. I used to be very clear with myself. I don't need a cane. I can still walk. I'm still independent. But what I didn't realize was that every day I would quietly reach for chair backs, grip tabletops, and slide my hand along the wall as I walked down the hallway. I called it temporary balance, but my doctor called it furniture walking. And then one day, I was carrying a laundry basket from the bedroom to the living room. My hands were full. Nothing left to hold on to. One slightly misplaced step, and I nearly slammed into the corner of the table. I dropped to the floor, heart racing, hands shaking. I wasn't hurt, but I understood. It was time to ask for help, and there was no shame in that. The very next day, I went out and bought a cane, not the dull, hospital gray kind. I chose a light one, with a soft grip and a gentle pattern, and surprisingly, it made me smile. From that day on, I walked differently. No more grabbing furniture, no more hesitating with full hands. I felt more in control, more stable, and most of all, less afraid when stepping across a polished floor. Many people think using a cane is giving in, admitting weakness. But I see it differently. Using a cane means having the courage to admit you need support and choosing the safer, smarter way to keep living independently. In truth, people don't see weakness when you carry a cane. They see a woman who knows exactly what she's doing. And sometimes they even say, "Your cane is beautiful." If you find yourself leaning on furniture or hesitating to walk when your hands are full, it's not because you're growing weaker. It's because you might need a more reliable companion. And a cane just might be the one. But even with support in hand, true balance needs practice because stability is not a gift. We keep it as a skill we train or slowly lose. I used to think balance was instinctive, like breathing, something you just had. But the first time I tried standing on one foot in a gentle yoga class, I realized that what once felt simple, my body could no longer do as easily. I wobbled. I lost my footing. I had to grab a chair within seconds. And in that moment, I understood. Balance doesn't disappear all at once. It fades over time if we don't train it. Just like muscle strength, balance is a skill. And like any skill, it needs to be practiced, maintained. The fewer challenges we give it, the more our body forgets how to respond. The more we forget to respond, the more likely we are to lose control when something unexpected happens. I started very small, standing on one leg while brushing my teeth, taking tiny steps, heel to toe, down the hallway, leaning gently left and right, one hand resting on a chair. Just a few minutes each day. No equipment, no pressure. And after a few weeks, something beautiful happened. I stopped gasping when stepping off a curb. I no longer hesitated on gravel paths. I could rise from a chair without worrying I might stumble. That didn't come from strength. It came from the belief that my body could still relearn, and you can begin at any age. If you've never tried, start today. Choose one simple action, standing on one foot or walking slowly in a straight line. Repeat it a few times a day, not to prove anything to anyone, but to gently remind yourself, you're still training, still connected to your body. And there's still so much you can do if only you begin. And as we train balance through movement, we must also nourish it from within, because even a glass of water can steady more than we realize. For many years, I thought I was drinking enough water. A cup of tea in the morning, a coffee at noon, a bit of water after dinner. But one afternoon, I stood up from my chair and felt my head spin ever so slightly. Not a sharp dizziness, just a gentle sway, enough to make me grab the edge of the table. I thought maybe I was tired. Maybe it was the heat. But the doctor asked one simple question. How much water have you had today? I couldn't answer. The truth is, after age 60, our sense of thirst fades. Our body still needs hydration, but it doesn't send strong signals like it used to. And so we easily forget. Dehydration becomes silent, leading to lightheadedness, dizziness, disorientation, even a mild drop in blood pressure. Not drinking enough water doesn't just leave your skin dry or your mouth parched. It leaves your brain less fluid in managing balance. The nervous system loses its smooth rhythm. Muscles respond slower. And everything, from standing up, stepping down, to turning around, feels more off balance than usual. After that incident, I started keeping a water bottle right beside my chair. I set reminders on my phone. Morning, noon, afternoon, evening. One small glass each time. I used a water bottle with measurement lines, easy to track, and oddly satisfying to complete the goal. And within just a few days, I felt a clear difference. No more lightheadedness when standing, no more afternoon fatigue, and I slept more deeply at night. You don't need to force 2 liters a day. Just 6 to 8 small glasses, evenly spaced, is already a beautiful gift to your balance system. Remember, if you wait until you're thirsty to drink, it might already be too late. Drinking water is a small act, but for someone over 60, it's a big step towards staying grounded. Day by day, step by step. And sometimes balance is not lost in the body, but in the space around us. The next step is seeing your home not with comfort, but with fresh, cautious eyes. I've lived in this house for over 30 years. Every corner, every step, every hallway is etched in my memory. So when I tripped on the curled edge of a hallway rug and nearly fell, I was confused. How could it be here, in my own home? And that's when I realized, because everything felt so familiar, I stopped noticing. Little things like a loose rug, a charging cord under the table, a dim hallway light, they had all quietly become traps. After that incident, I took a walk around my house, not with familiar eyes, but with the gaze of a stranger visiting for the first time. And I saw the bathroom had no grab bars. The hallway was pitch dark at night, lit only by one weak bulb. The kitchen kept heavy pans in the bottom drawer, forcing me to bend down every time. It wasn't carelessness. My house had simply aged with me, but I hadn't yet updated it to match my new needs. I started with small changes, removing slippery rugs, adding anti-slip tape to steps, installing motion sensor lights in the hallway, attaching grab bars near the toilet and inside the shower, reorganizing frequently used items to waist height so I wouldn't have to bend down or climb a stool. Nothing was expensive, nothing was complicated, but the result was pure peace of mind. I moved more confidently. I no longer walked half awake, half worried in the dark. I knew my home was supporting me, instead of making me stay alert all the time. You don't have to wait for a fall to fix your house. Take a walk. Observe every small detail. Ask yourself, if this were my child's home, would I see anything unsafe? Then go ahead and do that for yourself, because you deserve to live in a space that's safe, steady, just like all the years you've spent holding others up. And when your home finally feels safe again, the final lesson reveals itself. Balance is not just physical. It is how gently you choose to care for yourself. Balance, it turns out, isn't just about the legs. It's about a heart that listens, a mind that dares to change, and a soul that's patient with itself. I used to think, maybe I'm slowing down because of age. But now I understand. It's not age that takes away our stability. It's the small, quiet habits that slowly wear it down. We don't stumble only because of a table corner or a curled rug. We stumble because we let exhaustion linger, because we're too proud to use a cane, because we haven't changed that dim hallway light we pass every day. But today, you've made it to the end of this video. And that tells me one thing. You're ready to walk differently. You're not weak for being cautious. You're strong for being prepared. You're not old for using support. You're wise for choosing safety as your companion. If there's one thing I hope you carry with you, it's this. Balance isn't just a physical skill. It's a way of living on purpose. It's every glass of water you drink at the right time. It's every step that feels supported. It's every time you tell your doctor something doesn't feel quite right. Leave a comment below. Which habit do you recognize in yourself? Or simply, what will you start doing differently, starting tomorrow? I read every message, because I believe your story, even a small one, might touch someone else. Another woman, a friend, a mother, a grandmother, also wobbling in silence. If this video spoke to you, please share it. And follow this channel if you'd like to continue walking these gentle, steady, hope-filled journeys with us. We may not go back to 30, but we can walk through 70 with our spine tall and our spirit grounded, and with a soft, steady belief that there's still so much to live, to give, and to savor, one step at a time.